Hello, my name is Lami Gidado. In the last two videos, we talked about the 10 benefits of play and also what play therapy is. And in this video, we're going to talk about 20 therapeutic powers of play. This further supports the importance of play therapy and how it works and why it works. So we're going to be looking at 20 therapeutic powers of play, and they are divided into 4 groups. The first one is that it facilitates communication. And I'm sure that in the last video, you heard me talk about how you are able to, it gives words, sort of gives pictures to what you're trying to express, right? So when we don't have the words to express ourselves, play therapy helps us to be able to express it. So play therapy is for self-expression. It's also access to the unconscious. Sometimes we do not even realize what we're going through. And an example I would give is many people come to play therapy, they come for sessions and they think they know why they're there. But when I start play therapy with them, I realize that there's a root cause of what they think they're going through. An example is someone who was a young adult at the time she came to me, and she was sent to me because she was sexually abused when she was a child, and it was affecting her. Now that she's in university, she's having difficulty with relationships and many other problems. But as I started play therapy with her, I realized that she had not grieved over her father's passing. And this was like 5 years after he had died. And she had not grieved. And the more we, had sessions, she realized that she really didn't think he was dead, because her father used to travel a lot when he was alive. So she just somehow in her subconscious mind, she told herself that he had traveled. But this was the first time she started to grieve and cry and really accept that he was gone. So it's access to the unconscious. It's also for direct teaching and indirect teaching. These are all ways that play therapy facilitates communication. And I see that play, in the lives of the children with autism, especially those who are non-verbal. It helps them to find expression. So children with autism learn to let us know who they are, what they prefer, how they prefer to learn, and what they're going through play therapy. So that is something that's, I find really profound, and it translates. I mean, it's also, we see it also play at home. They're able to express themselves at home and to show everyone at home what they prefer. Many children with autism have preferences because of sensory difficulties, but we are able to understand what those difficulties are when they play. It also fosters emotional wellness. So under emotional wellness, we have catharsis and abreaction, positive emotions, counter conditioning fears, stress inoculation, and stress management. So children are able to play out what they fear. So sometimes play therapists actually make children to go through that same thing that they're afraid of while they're playing. That way, it's almost like showing them that it's going to be okay. So for example, a child may be going for a surgery and they play it out in the play therapy room. So they understand what's the worst that could happen. You're going to have injections, you're going to have all kinds of things, attached on your body, and you would sleep and wake up and all of that. So they understand what they're going to go through. So it facilitates it fosters emotional wellness. The third category is that it enhances social relationships. So therapeutic relationships, which I talked about in the other video. But the thing is that we see how in play therapy, one of the things play therapy does is that even though we're seeing only one person at a time, one child, it also reflects on family life. So the whole family sort of benefits from it. Relationships improve. The communication between family members also improves. So therapeutic relationships, attachment, social competence, and empathy. I talked about how children are able to advocate for themselves. They're able to express themselves. They're able to try new things while they go through play therapy, and also learn to understand how other people are feeling. They develop a sense of themselves and a sense of others, and of how other people feel as well. And then it increases personal strength. So creative problem solving, resiliency, moral development, accelerated psychological development, self-regulation, and self-esteem. One child that keeps coming back to my mind is, I think it was the second child I ever had, and he had ADHD. And, he was sent to me for distracting the class and just lack of focus and attention and all of that. But I realized that he had a lot of self-esteem issues. For one, he was forced to switch from left-handedness to using his right, and that affected him. And nobody realized that it was affecting him until one day I was playing with him in the play therapy room, and he was kicking the ball, and I realized he was kicking with his left leg. And I was wondering why, because he's right-handed. And then he told me how he was flogged in his former school for using his left hand and all of that. And definitely that affected his left-handedness. And it's even possible that the ADHD diagnosis may be wrong, because sometimes trauma looks like ADHD, and children are diagnosed with ADHD when they don't really have it. So as I started to work with him, I saw how his self-esteem was improved, and also being able to regulate himself. One of the ways that he developed self-regulation skills was I did a lot of creative visualization activities with him, because he just couldn't stay still to do anything in the play therapy room. Like, he would pick things and drop them, pick things and drop them. And he eventually, I thought about creative visualization with him, and I would just ask him, do you want to just sit down and close your eyes, take deep breaths and imagine? And then I'll start to tell him what to imagine. And every single day he would come back and ask me to do the same thing. He wants to sit down and do that imagination thing, like he would say, So we did this every single session, until it came to a point where he came to my play therapy room and said, Mrs. Gidado, can I read for 30 minutes and then do this and that and that and that? And if you know what ADHD means, this is such a huge thing. For him to sit down and read for 30 minutes was a huge thing. By the time I had the last session with him, he sat down and read for the whole 1 hour. And the teacher asked me what I was doing, because she saw how he was sitting still in the classroom and, paying attention. He was more focused. So he learned self-regulation skills through play therapy. So that's the fourth category. It increases personal strengths. So those are the 20 therapeutic powers of play. And I would add an explanation of what each of them stand for. So thank you.